Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between towering mountains and shimmering seas, there lived a wise and kind queen named Seraphina. Her kingdom, La Mera, was a land of golden fields, sparkling rivers, and bustling villages. But what made La Mera truly special was a secret known only to the queen and a handful of trusted souls, a hidden garden, lush and vibrant, where flowers glowed with an otherworldly light, and fruits hung heavy with the promise of miracles. This was no ordinary garden. It was a magical place, blessed by the ancient spirits of the earth, where every plant held the power to heal. A single petal could mend a broken bone, a drop of sap could cure the gravest illness, and the scent of its blossoms could soothe even the weariest soul. Queen Seraphina had inherited the garden from her mother, who had received it from hers, and so it had been passed down through generations, a sacred trust. For years, the garden thrived in secret, its magic used sparingly and wisely. But one fateful autumn, a terrible plague swept through La Mera. The people grew weak, their faces pale, their hopes fading like the evening sun. Desperation spread like wildfire, and whispers of the queen's hidden garden began to surface. Some sought its power to heal, while others coveted it for their own gain. This is the tale of how Queen Seraphina protected her garden, faced unimaginable challenges, and discovered the true meaning of sacrifice and love. The plague arrived on the wings of a cold, unrelenting wind. It began in the farthest villages, where children fell ill with fever and elders coughed blood into their handkerchiefs. Soon, the sickness spread to the heart of La Mera, and the once vibrant kingdom became a shadow of its former self. The streets grew quiet, the markets empty, and the air heavy with despair. Queen Seraphina, seated on her throne of woven silver, listened to the pleas of her people. Her heart ached as she saw their suffering, but she knew the dangers of revealing the garden's existence. Its magic was not infinite, and if misused, it could bring ruin instead of healing. One night, as the moon hung low and the stars seemed to weep, the queen visited the garden. The plants shimmered in the moonlight, their colors more vivid than ever, as if they sensed the kingdom's pain. Seraphina knelt beside a pool of crystal-clear water and whispered a prayer to the spirits. "Guide me," she pleaded. "How can I save my people without losing what we hold dear?" The water rippled, and a voice, soft yet firm, echoed in her mind. "The garden's power is great, but it is not without cost. To heal the many, you must be willing to sacrifice the one." The queen's heart clenched. What did the spirits mean? Who would have to pay the price? The next morning, a stranger arrived at the castle gates. He was tall, cloaked in dark robes, and his eyes gleamed like shards of ice. He introduced himself as Malvora, a healer from a distant land, and claimed to have knowledge of the plague. "I can help your people," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "But I require something in return." Queen Seraphina, wary yet desperate, invited him into the castle. As they spoke, Malvora's gaze lingered on the tapestries depicting lush gardens and blooming flowers. "I have heard tales," he said, "of a garden that holds the power of life itself. Surely, such a place could end this plague." The queen's heart raced, but she kept her composure. "Legends often exaggerate," she replied. "We must rely on wisdom, not myths." Malvora smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "Of course, your majesty. But if such a garden existed, would you not use it to save your people?" The question haunted Seraphina long after he left. She knew Malvora was not to be trusted, but his words planted seeds of doubt in her mind. Could she truly keep the garden hidden while her people suffered? Days turned into weeks, and the plague grew worse. The people, desperate and afraid, began to whisper of the queen's selfishness. "She hoards the magic for herself," they said. "She cares not for us." One night, under the cover of darkness, a group of villagers, led by a man with a familiar icy gaze, broke into the castle grounds. They had heard rumors of a hidden path that led to the garden, and they were determined to find it. Queen Seraphina, alerted by her loyal guards, rushed to stop them. But she was too late. The intruders had already reached the garden, and Malvora stood at its center, a cruel smile on his lips. "At last," he said, plucking a glowing flower. "The power of life itself." The moment he touched the plant, the garden began to wither. The vibrant colors faded, the leaves curled, and the air grew heavy with sorrow. The spirit's voice echoed once more, filled with anguish. "The balance is broken. The price must be paid." Queen Seraphina knew what she had to do. She stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "Take me," she said. "I am the one who must pay the price." Malvora laughed. "You think I care for your sacrifice? The garden's power is mine now." But the spirits would not be denied. A blinding light enveloped the queen, and when it faded, she stood transformed. Her skin glowed like sunlight, her hair flowed like rivers of gold, and her eyes shone with the wisdom of the ages. "You have broken the sacred trust," she said, her voice echoing with power. "Now, you shall face the consequences." With a wave of her hand, the garden's magic surged, trapping Malvora and his followers in vines of thorns. The stolen flower withered in his grasp, and the garden began to heal, its colors returning brighter than ever, but the queen's transformation came at a cost. She could no longer remain in the mortal world. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, she turned to her people, her heart heavy yet full of love. "The garden will heal you," she said. "But it must be protected. Use its gifts wisely, and remember the price of greed." With those final words, she vanished, becoming one with the garden itself. The plague was lifted, and the people of La Mera were healed. The garden, now more vibrant than ever, became a symbol of hope and renewal. A council of wise elders was formed to protect it, ensuring its magic would never be misused again. Though Queen Seraphina was gone, her spirit lived on in every blossom, every leaf, and every drop of dew. The people told her story for generations, a tale of sacrifice, love, and the enduring power of nature. And so, dear reader, the tale of the Queen's hidden garden comes to an end. But the magic of this story lives on in your heart. If you enjoyed this fairy tale, don't forget to subscribe for more enchanting stories like this one, share it with friends, and comment below with your thoughts. Let us know what you think Queen Seraphina's spirit would whisper to those who visit her garden today. Until next time, may your days be filled with wonder and your nights with dreams of magic. Cherry Blossom Sparkles.